leave me.
Okay.
X1 cheers.
There are
This is this
6 concerns
Well, we did.
that we have to address for any lighting setup. They are written conveniently for you on the board. They are intensity, quality, contrast, direction and angle, color, and shape. We're going to do the first 3 of those today. So we're going to start with intensity. Intensity is 2 issues. Intensity is how bright is the light that I'm using, and how bright is it going to look to the camera. How bright it looks to the camera is a combination of how bright the light is and how I set the exposure. Right? So we're going to push that aside for a minute. What we're going to be working with in this class, I guess you could say we're going to be working with 3 different types of light units. Right now, we're working with fluorescent lights. Long tubes with a little bit of gas inside them, and a little bit of electricity excites that gas, and it heats up and it glows, and we get that kind of light. For many, many years, fluorescent lights were a really, really great solution for interviews. You do whole banks of fluorescent lights. They were called KinoFlows. Since we now have LEDs, I don't think they're used that often, but it was a really, really pretty light, and you could do huge banks. And we'll see why a huge bank of lights is important in a few minutes. We're not going to be using those other than we're sitting under them right now, okay? All right, what we're going to be dealing with in class are going to be incandescent lights and LED lights. We're going to start with incandescent. An incandescent light is a light that is emitted by a bulb or a lamp. If you call them bulbs in the professional world, you get electricians who give you a lot of grief because they think you don't know what you're saying. They are bulbs. So just like if you haven't changed the light bulb in your desk lamp in 15 years, you may still have an incandescent light in your desk lamp. An incandescent light is a globe of some kind or some shape. Inside that globe is either a vacuum or sometimes a kind of suspended gas. Inside that is a piece of metal. When you send electricity through that piece of metal, it glows and it gets hotter. And that's what a light bulb, an old standard light bulb is. This is an example of a halogen light. That's a kind of incandescent light. So you can see it's glass, kind of a tube. It's got a vacuum, and I believe in a halogen there's a little bit of gas in there. And there's a piece of metal right there that when you turn this on and you send electricity through it, it generates light and it generates heat. Don't forget that last part. That last part, as we will see in a few minutes, very, very important. This kind of lamp is in each of these lights, which are the lights we're going to start with. All right, these are Arri lights, which means they're manufactured by a company called Arri. There's 3 in this particular kit. Okay. So I want you, Peyton, look at the side there. What does it say?
650.
Okay, so it says Arri, which is the company. It says 650. What do we think 650 on this light means? Yes, wattage, right? It's power consumption, right? The higher the number of wattage on an incandescent bulb, the brighter the bulb will be. So if I look at this and it's going to generate 650 watts of lighting power, I pick up one of these, which is significantly smaller for one hand. And Peyton, what does this one say? 150. 150 is less than 600. I don't know how well you guys are doing in math. Thank you. Thank you very much. This means this light will be dimmer than that light. I can't make this light be as bright as I can make that light. And sometimes that's a big decision. It might be a big decision. How bright a light do I have? If I'm out at night and I want to light up a field, I certainly don't want to take this. this is essentially the same wattage as the not much more wattage than the lamp in your desk lamp, if you ever have incandescent lamps still in your desk. I'm going to want something with a lot more brightness, a lot more intensity. So I'm going to go with a 650. Now, when we get into LEDs, LED stands for light emitting diode. These are a kind of LED lights, so you can see it's a lot of little, kind of almost like little tiny lamps, all combined together, right? Wattage is not a measurement of brightness on LED lights. If you go to Home Depot and you buy some LED bulbs for your home, you will notice that they will give you an equivalent wattage. In other words, this light, this LED light, which only uses 15 watts of power, is actually as bright as what you're used to with a 100-watt bulb. Because as a society, we're used to measuring brightness by wattage. Okay? When we get the LEDs in here, we'll look a little more about how we determine which of those are the brighter ones and which are the dimmer ones. Right now, we're dealing with these. We know this is our brightest light. There are two 150s in here. Those are going to be dimmer. Okay. Now, I need a volunteer. Nathan, you grab that chair from in there. I need a volunteer to be on camera today. Who wants to do it?
I'll do it.
All right, come on over.
Am I standing or sitting?
No, you're going to be sitting. We're going to put a chair. Nathan, let's put it like right to your side of that. Hold on. Easier for me to think right here. Let's get you on camera and then we'll position it. Okay. I'm going to need to come that way just a little bit. Man, all of the doors are off of this one. Okay. Okay. So your eye line, whenever I ask you to eye line, is to look at yourself. Okay? All right. Okay. The other thing about the intensity of light, right? How it looks in the final product can be controlled very simply on the camera, right? If I close down the aperture, it makes the light seem dimmer. If I open the aperture up, it makes the light seem brighter. Okay? So we'll look at it. There's a couple of other ways to deal with intensity as well. But to start this off, hold on a second. Never let them set these up again. Yeah, I don't want them set up. I want them to have to set them up. All right. Who wants to set up a C-stand? It's fine if you've ever done it. This, by the way, is a C-stand. You guys just don't want to experience or learn anything with this. You just want to sit back and watch me make a fool of myself. It's not going to work. I mean, I'll make a fool of myself, but it's not going to do you any good. Am I going to have to call on somebody? Emma.
No.
Come here. All right. Let's start with this end so we can set it up. We have two kinds of C-stands. Go ahead and close that one down. They both open up at the bottom in different ways. So you know, depending on which one you get, these may act differently. Okay, do me a favor, let's loosen that. Okay. Now one of the things that may work, that's enough, you may just be able to spin it. And it may, no, it's not working. But here's, yeah, no, it is. Okay, so you see how that fits in?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. On that side.
Yes, we are. So there's a little notch here, and each leg has to fit into one of those notches. And this, I think, comes over your way and goes in like that. That's it. All you have to do is tighten it. Law number 2. Law number 1. Did anybody remember what law number 1 was? Let's do it with a tripod. Somebody better say it. I'll just be angry the rest of the day.
Can I sit down?
Yeah. Well, yeah, but you're going to have to get back up in there. We're not done yet. What's law number 1?
I have no idea. I don't even know why you're looking at me.
I don't know if you're convenient. The plate.
Oh,
yeah.
What?
Oh, no.
The plate
Stays with the tripod.
stays with a tripod. Thank you. Law number 2. I'm going to keep yelling at you about these laws until you answer. Law number 2 is if you loosen something, tighten it. I'm tired of my shimmery. I'm tired of my shins being bloodied by C-stands because somebody didn't tighten the bolt and they slam around into my shins. I don't want it. I don't want it anymore. If you loosen it, tighten it. That's a tripod, that's a C-stand, that's pretty much anything. If you loosen it, eventually you gotta tighten it. Okay. Now, C-stands can be used as light stands. All you have to do is take this off, and it's a light stand. I'm not sure why I went to C-stands so fast. I think I jumped a couple of steps. I did jump a couple of steps. That's all right. We'll be all right. All right? What we'll see in a few minutes is how valuable it can be to have that part of the C-stand. In the meantime, though, I need a no volunteer now to set up a light stand. You get your hands on it, you learn. You sit and stare, you don't get anything. We're going to bring it over here. And you don't have to know how to do it. I will help you, right? So I'm going to loosen that one first. Okay. So you have to loosen it. You have to spread the legs out. That one stays tight. You don't mess with that one at all. Yep. So what you want to do, though, is you want to make sure these legs are as far apart as you can get them. Okay? Then you want to tighten. The farther apart the lights are, the sturdier the stand is going to be. It's going to have less of a chance to fall. Even so, it has much more of a chance to fall this way than it does this way. So you want to make sure, because the people who are on camera are way more important than anybody else, you want to make sure this light doesn't hit them. So you want to point one of the legs towards your subject. Okay? Go over and grab that 6-foot. Now, when you're raising or lowering a stand, you start at the top junction. Because if you start at the bottom, the top junction may be up there and you may not be able to reach it. Okay, so you start at the top. Now you will see, true of this C-stand, if I take this off, I take the arm off, hold on, and true of that light stand, there's a little pin here at the top, and you can see it has an indentation. Don't put that on yet, we'll do it as a demonstration, okay? So let's get the light on this. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass, but it'll be all right. Okay, so it fits down over that, and then you tighten it. Now, let me show you what can be an issue. Let's say someone took this light off the stand. Hold on. Where do I have to go? There we go. But they left this screwed in a bit. When you try to put it down, it doesn't go all the way. Feels like it went all the way, but it doesn't. If you tighten it here, it's going to fall off. Always loosen this to make sure you are all the way down. That screw should be going in this indentation. Okay? All right. This is going to be the part where you say, I wish I hadn't volunteered for this. Okay.
Is it okay to be wobbly like that?
Well, it's not great, but it's okay.
Okay.
I mean, I would usually put a big one like this on a C-stand, but these stands are okay. It's not going anywhere. You can tilt it, right, by loosening or tightening this at that joint. Now the next thing we need is power. So I'm going to say, let's see, I think those may work down there. Hopefully this is turned, is it turned off? Yes, it's turned off. For the time being, let's just do that. All right, whenever you turn a light on, you do what? You say striking. Why do you say that?
Because it might blind somebody.
It might blind somebody, you're absolutely right. Now, I've got it pointed at the ceiling, so hopefully it won't be a problem striking. All right. Now, I'm going to turn it back off for a minute.
Killing.
What are these?
Barn doors.
What's a barn door for?
Help shape the light.
Shape the light.
Ooh, you used the right words too. Nice. You're all the way down to the bottom of the list there already. Good for you.
Thanks to
But you were going to explain it a little more.
Yeah.
I could tell. You were going to say something else.
I mean, yeah, shape the light, but you can also use it to reduce lighting. So if you need to, you can reduce
Well,
the lighting.
I think what you can do to reduce lighting is the same as basically shape. It's basically keeping the light from hitting areas you don't want it to hit. You can't kind of turn down the brightness of it, but you can keep it from going places.
Yeah.
Right? So we will have to be. I'll have to be a little careful with our terminology because we will get things confused really fast if we are a little slack on that. Okay, so every light, barn doors go on slightly differently. You got to either research it or figure it out. When we get the LED lights in here, the barn doors are completely different. On this one, if you can see, we have up here, we have a kind of spring-loaded clip, which right now is off to the side, right? So the barn doors slide into these notches, okay? And then this clip comes over and clips it in. So now we've got the barn doors. And again, to illustrate your point, let me do this. All right, striking. Here's something we didn't talk about last time. These lights you can also spot or flood. So that's spotted. It means you take the light and you put it in a very, very sort of condensed area. You can flood it so that it's more of a spread out light. We'll leave this flooded for the time being. Okay? If I don't want the light to hit that, I can bring this down. If I don't want it to hit over there, I can bring it up. If I want to kind of keep it off the sides, right? So that's what the barn doors, and that's what we talk about when we say shaping light. Now, at this point, I need to have these. Because already, when I touched that barn door, it was hot. Within the next 2 minutes, that light will be so hot that if you touch it with your bare hand, all of your hand won't come back. So this is a huge safety issue. If you check out these kinds of incandescent lights, be sure you have got gloves. You are going to need them. Okay. Let's take a look at something. All right, I'm going to point the light at you. I'm going to back it up a little bit. Actually, I'm not going to back that. Can I get the light meter?
Yeah.
Anytime you need to close your eyes, feel free to do so. It's coming your way. Okay. All right, can we kill the overhead lights, please? So this is a light meter. It, probably not shockingly, meters light. All right, let's take this down to that. Let's take that to that. Okay. If I tell this, and let's see if it's set properly this time. Let's see, we've got to go up in the ISO. If I tell this, yeah, you may want to. It's going to be pretty bright over there.
I can't even like look at your face.
Okay, so I'm going to tell this the ISO I'm shooting the camera at, and then I'm going to tell it. Oh, don't do that to me. Hold on. Give me a minute. These are. I don't like these. someday can I get these. Okay. All right, that's going to be close enough. I don't like these because you have a limited number of shutter speeds you can set, and it's not a great variety. So once I tell this little meter, okay, I'm hanging it around my neck this time because this is a thing I lose constantly. All right. I'm going to point this down a little bit so we can get it out of some people a little bit. That probably helps a little, right? Okay. If I take this light meter, now, you're going to see there's a sensor right there, right? Reacts to light. Okay? Basically reads how bright, how intense a light is. Okay? If I'm going to point the light meter at the subject, I use it like this, with that sensor exposed. If I'm going to use it pointed at the light, which is kind of preferable, I'm going to have to put this little white dome over it. All right? So I should now, if this thing is set properly, I should be able to put it right up here and push a little button, and it's going to tell me I should be shooting at a 6.3. Can you see on that side? Can you put it at a 6.3? It's on the lens right here.
Am I doing it right?
Ah, yep. There's a line there. So the line is right here. So you're at 11. So you want to put,
Oh, like somewhere over here.
yeah, right about there. Looks good, right? Gave us a good reading. Now, still talking about intensity. There are a few other things I can still do about the brightness of this light, the intensity of this light. The closer the light is, the brighter it is. The further away it is, the dimmer it is. Okay, right now our proper exposure is f6.3. If I bring this light, by the way, what's wrong with this light right now? Somebody should know this. There's no sandbag on it. Who's going to get me a sandbag? Right. So you put it on the opposite side of that leg and you're trying to make sure it doesn't touch the ground. See if we can get it. You hold on to it for a second. There we go. If it touches the ground, you're not getting the full advantage. Okay, so now we're going to move it back. Maybe around 6 feet. Let me.
Blind everybody.
Don't go into the light either.
THC lights.
Look how much darker it got on the camera, on the monitor. Moving it that far, we went from a 6.3 to a 2.8. That's easily 2.5, maybe 3 stops. Remember, every stop cuts the light in half. Again and again and again. Or if I'm coming closer, doubles it, right? So intensity. How bright is the light? How bright we're going to make the light look? How close or how far away the light is. We can also, with some of these kits, if we want to cut down, let's see if we have it in this one or not. May not be the right size, but we can go in here, we can open this barn door area up and we can drop in, yeah, it's not quite the right size, but they'll show it. We can drop in what's called a scrim. It's just a wire mesh. That's all it is. Let's see what dropping a wire mesh in does. About half a stop. So not a lot. And these wire meshes come, I don't know which one this is. They're color coded and I can't remember. They come in different densities, so there'll be one that cuts a stop, there'll be one that cuts half a stop, etc. The only other way to control the brightness of an incandescent bulb, other than the unit that you're using and the distance the unit is from the subject is by controlling the power. Could you grab the dimmer for me, Nathan? This does not work with LEDs. Almost all the LEDs that you get will have dimmers built into them. This only works with incandescent bulbs. Can you, since you're right there, let's turn it off.
Yeah, I got you. Save.
This is a dimmer. All this does is cut down or increase the amount of electricity that is going into the light. You plug it, I looked at the light, now I can't see anything. You plug it into the power source. You may think I have it. I literally can't.
Losing you flashlight.
Oh wait, I'm the wrong way. I got you. Thank you. This is one of those situations where the cataracts don't help. Okay. I went to Disney World and I couldn't see anything inside any of the rides, and I couldn't figure out why. And it's because as you get old, you get these cataracts. Here, can't see it, right? And the cataracts are like this. I can see fine in the daylight, but when I get in here, I've got this like fog in front of me. Okay, let's turn it back on again.
All right, striking. There we
Okay.
go.
So by sliding this, I can just control the intensity of the light, probably by about a stop or two. Now, the problem with this, you'll notice we're looking at a black and white image, because we're not thinking, I don't want us to even be thinking about color yet. I want us to be just thinking about these issues. We'll get to color next time. When I dim this light, however, it will change its color temperature. The more I dim it, the more orange it will get, and I do have to compensate for that if that's okay. Somebody turn the light off for me. I just don't like it on while I'm doing all this.
Save.
Okay? Just stand there for me for a second. We'll be right back. Well, a second, maybe 10
I
minutes.
have a question.
Ask away. I love
This
questions.
is for a dumb one. So let's say you want cool light.
Yes.
Would you buy a light bulb that's cool?
If you, well, we'll look at this later. It depends. We're going to look at this next week. The quick answer is most LED lights are automatically kind of bluish. Okay? That matches the sun. Sunlight is actually kind of bluish. These lights are kind of orange. Right? Now, when we look at color, we can see I can make this a blue light, and I can make a blue light an orange light, or I can tell the camera to change the color. Or if we want really blue, we can gel. So hold that thought for 1 week, and we'll do it all next time. Okay? All right. If it's an immediate thing, see me after that. All right. Let's fire it back up. Somebody. I'm not touching any more equipment. You guys are doing it.
Striking.
Yep. Sorry.
Striking.
Okay. That's all the issues in terms of intensity, right? What unit do I use? How far, how close is it? How much electricity is going into it? How am I exposing it? Okay? We're going to skip quality because I kind of realized I could do this in a different order and it would be a little better. We're going to go next to contrast.
Can I ask a quick
Please.
So on a film set, you have the lighting team, but do the lighting team like see the camera to know how to do this, or does the director tell them, hey, move the light, hey, bring it down?
In this day and time, everyone sees everything because everything's on monitors, right? But the lighting team, which is the electricians, corollary to that is the grips. The electricians will be reporting to a director of photography, and the director of photography will be telling them what to do, and then we'll be dealing with how it exposed and whether something needs to be brighter or darker or all that. That answer your question? Yeah. Yeah. So unlike when I was in this industry, if you're an electrician and you want to see what it looks like, you can go look at a monitor. We didn't used to be able to do that. In fact, no one knew what it looked like till you got it back the next day from the film lab. So it was a little bit intense. Okay. If we're talking about intensity, further with this, we'll be fine. we can define as relative intensity. I think most of you have heard the idea of the three-point lighting scenario, right? There's nothing magic about that, by the way. It's not like every lighting setup ought to be a three-point lighting setup. It's a good way to define, and it's a good way to think about the process, right? So the idea of a three-point lighting setup is your main light, the light that you're going to be basing your exposure on, is your key light, okay? That key light creates shadows on the other side of the face, right? A fill light is one that would be over here, and it is brightening those shadows up to whichever extent I want. And the third light in a three-point lighting scenario, which we will do next week, is a backlight that sort of illuminates, gives kind of an outline to the subject and cuts them out from the background. Now, right now,